In this video, I will explain to you how to get higher level item level. You are probably on your original pieces of gear from your Chaos Dungeon if you are progressing at the standard rate. You might either have blue gear that looks something like this, which is a 302 piece of gear with some pluses on it, or maybe during that time you've got yourself epics or legendary gear of the tier 1, and now you're thinking, I'm getting close to tier 2. How do I either unlock tier 2, or if you understand you have to get item level 600 in order to lock tier 2, how do I get that item level 600? Now, as soon as you get item level 600, it gives you access to tier 2 items, and I will explain how to get item level 600 directly after I explain this. If you look at the actual gear itself, it says restricted trading item level 600. This means two things. This means if you wish to actually get this gear from another person, you must have already an item level 600 accomplished on your hero. We'll talk about why that's important. It also means that that is for trading only. However, it does in fact allow you to equip this gear prior to level 600 if you are able to get the gear by yourself, meaning without actually having purchased it. Now, the way the game works, however, is that even though it requires item level 600 to trade it, it doesn't require it to equip it, but it pseudo requires 600 anyway, because there is a purple quest to go to Yorn, and you have to hit item level 600 in order to have that quest, in order to continue the story, which unlocks the ability to get this gear anyway. So for all intents and purposes, you must be item level 600 before you concern yourself about getting the next tier of gear. For that reason, I'm going to explain to you the best way to get item level 600 now. So the best way to get item level 600 is you take whatever the original piece of gear is you're working on. It could be the 302 blue gear out of your Chaos Dungeons, and you're just going to straight up gear hone them until you hit plus 15. Once you hit plus 15 on all of your pieces of equipment, this will give you the required level of level item 600. Immediately after hitting item level 600, I went and started selling to Yorn. While I was on my way selling to Yorn, I went into the marketplace on my pet, because my pet allows me to access that while on the high seas. From there, you can see here, I went and purchased the item level 600 required gear, which is essentially just saving me the time of doing one Chaos Dungeon to acquire a faux set. This cost me less than 100 gold, but during the time that I sold from the main area to Yorn, I was able to pick up and acquire these pieces of gear in order to save a little bit of time, and you can see the prices are basically nothing. You do not, I will say this again, you do not have to purchase the gear from the market once you hit item level 600. This was purely an attempt to save some time, and it does not cost me very much money or Phaon or any of that type of stuff in order to acquire this gear, and it just gave me a small boost and jump. You can see here, once I landed on Yorn's Cradle, I then equipped all of that blue gear I purchased, and it gave me an entire set of gear, a new achievement level, and more strength, so that when I am at Yorn, I am automatically going to be doing these quests faster. Once again, you can just take the gear you already have to Yorn that you took to plus 15. That is fine. I'm assuming you would like to know the exact way to get that gear that I purchased in the shop without actually purchasing it from other players, because somebody got it originally. Let me show you that method now. If you actually go to where you've been doing your Chaos Dungeons in order to grind towards item level 600, and you go up here to the Chaos Dungeons, you're going to very quickly notice when you select the next area, for instance, Yorn, that the gear drops are the same gear. It requires item level 600 and requires the final report completed. Because it requires the final report completed, you must complete the entirety of Yorn's main story in order to get this gear for free from the Chaos Dungeons yourself. Meaning, even though you've hit item level 600 and unlocked Yorn, you haven't unlocked the 802 gear or tier 2 gear by yourself until you beat Yorn. AKA, if this was a single player game, it would be factually impossible to hit tier 2 gear and equip it without completing all of Yorn. This is the reason I purchased it first. It sped up my time by a small amount, made it where I didn't die as much, and immediately allowed me, once I have access, to not worry about the gear and start rolling the resources I already had into it, etc. It just gave me access earlier. That was the only accomplishment by purchasing it from the auction house. So it is an option. If you choose to take that advantage, you can. If you choose to save your resources, you can. There is no factually better version. There's only a difference in patience required. One other thing I should mention, when you equip a higher tier of gear, the previous tier accessories give you a negative 50% effect for those accessories, meaning you need to match tier 1 equipment with tier 1 accessories. Yes, you can buy both from the auction house. I did not do that, as the accessories do not count to your overarching item level, and that was what I was primarily worried about in order to access more content. As you know, games like to basically gate out their content, and in this game they gate out the content by having item level, meaning I need 920 item level, even though I'm 900, to do the last stage of Yorn. Even though I've completed all of Yorn's story, I still do not have access to this dungeon. For that reason, you are going to be needing a vast amount of tier 2 enhancement materials, which will be covered on the next video. So if this video helped you understanding going from tier 1 to tier 2, consider subscribing to this channel or liking this video if I've earned either of those. Hope this explanation did a good job, and I'll see you on the next guide.